Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to introduce the 4th year of Herstoryathon. This is a month-long readathon which I have been hosting, running from March the 1st through to the 31st of March, coinciding with Women's History Month, in order to celebrate all the amazing women of history and to read a little bit more about them. The rules behind participating in Herstoryathon being pretty simple. As long as you read one book, and it can be fiction or non-fiction, about a woman who did exist in the past, then you have participated in Herstoryathon. This being said, we do always every year like to do a bunch of prompts, which I will get to in a moment, which can just spice up your reading and just add a little fun challenge to the mix. For the past 3 years, I've been hosting this readathon with Brittany over at Literarily Smitten. However, Brittany has recently returned to BookTube and we did have a little bit of a discussion about it. While she's reintroducing herself to BookTube, she's not wanting to take on any co-hosting or doing readathons, so quite understandably didn't want to put any pressure on herself to have to so soon jump into another readathon, which absolutely makes sense. So she is not going to be officially co-hosting this time round, but that doesn't mean that she is not involved at all. And in fact, some of the prompts that are on our little bingo card this time round include some of her suggestions, so thank you so much, Brittany. As ever, we are going to be using our Instagram account, which is at Herstoryathon. If you make any videos or any posts to do with Herstoryathon, we'd love it if you would tag us. And now to get into some of the 9 prompts, which can just add a little bit more fun to your Herstoryathon. So I'm just going to insert the little bingo card here in all its glory. The first, to read a translated book to do with women's history. Once again, this can be fiction or non-fiction. The second, to read a book about women's health. So that could be about sport, fitness, it could be about medicine, lots of different things that this could range. Last year we had a prompt for early achievers, talking about women who achieved great things early in life. And this year, particularly because I'm going to be turning 30 during this year's Herstoryathon, I wanted to tip my hat to that to talk about the Over 30s Club, and that is to read a book about a woman who came into prominence when she was 30 and over. 2 prompts that we always like to include is to read letters, diaries, memoir, basically anything that is not traditional prose non-fiction or fiction, getting to learn about a woman through their own writing. And another prompt that we always want to include is underrepresented women, whether that is reading about a woman who was BIPOC, LGBTQ+, disabled. Especially for myself, I know that a lot of the women's history that I tend to read is often about English queens, which is kind of stupidly limiting, to be honest, when there are so many fascinating women of history that I could also learn about. Prompt number 6 is to read about a controversial woman, whether that would be a woman who was controversial in her own time or somebody who now we look back on and think, was this person really the best? Whatever that means to you. Prompt number 7 I think is quite a fun one and can have different meanings, which is a friends pick. Now this could be a book about a woman of history that one of your friends has recommended that you read. Alternatively, it could be a book about historic female friendships. Prompt number 8 is Foodie. This was one of the 3 prompts that was suggested by Brittany. If it's about women in history and food features prominently, maybe she was a famous cook, maybe she had a dessert named after her, I don't know. If food was prominent in the narrative of her life, then it counts. And then the final prompt is to read about a woman who lived pre the 1500s. I've made no secret of the fact that I am an early modernist at heart. My time period of interest is typically 1500 to 1800, give or take some years around the Battle of Bosworth and Jane Austen's life. And because I know a lot of people don't tend to branch out too far away from present day when it comes to their history reads, I know a lot of people read about the Victorians, a lot of people read 20th century history, and so every year I've wanted to push to have people who are taking part in Herstoryathon to maybe branch out a little bit further back. But previous prompts have been like pre-1800, pre-1700, which means the prompt is always definitely in my wheelhouse. And so this time around I wanted to push myself to read outside of my remit and read about medieval and ancient women. You know, it's something I'm increasingly doing more and more, but typically if I am reading about women pre-1500, it tends to be English queens again. And so I'm hoping this prompt not only pushes you, but myself as well. Thank you to Brittany for contributing the foodie prompt, the women's health prompt, and the translated prompt. Some non-reading prompts that we like to include every year is, if you can, to take a photo of yourself at a location that is significant, where something to do with women in history took place. Once again, not forgetting to include the hashtag Herstoryathon in any of those posts. I live in Oxford, so I'm pretty much spoilt for choice for things like that, but it's always really interesting to see where in the world people who are taking part in Herstoryathon are from, and the really interesting local women's history that took place there. And the second is to watch a documentary, a TV show, a film, or listen to a podcast about a woman in history, and do definitely let me know about any of your recommendations. This year there isn't necessarily going to be a group book that we're all reading. This being said, I did recently pick up a copy of Catherine the Great by Robert K. Massie, which I know is one of Brittany's favourite books because it's about her favourite woman of history, Catherine the Great. And so I was going to be be using this for my friend pick. And when I mentioned this to Brittany, she was like, would you be interested in buddy reading that one? Because I've really wanted to reread it. So maybe we could take Catherine the Great as maybe the group book pick. But once again, another book, maybe not about an English queen, but another European queen. Yeah, I do definitely need to branch out, don't I? I also don't have any details for live shows that we're going to be doing this month, but do stay tuned because there may be more news to come on this score. So there we go, those are all the details I have for you about our Women's History Month readathon. Do let me know down in the comments below whether or not you're going to be taking part in Herstorython this year, and let me know about any reading recommendations that you have, particularly following the 9 prompts. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.